This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is Not America's Sweetheart, Davian.
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Welcome, everyone. I am the barker of the Bizzare, Rika Wildlee, and you are listening to the Wrestling with Entertainment podcast, and we're about to get a little bizarre.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J, and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the Barker of the Bizzare, Rika Wildlee.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. I've been looking forward to this interview for quite some time, so I know it's going to be amazing.
And on our side of things as well. But first, could you tell us where things are going to get a bit bizarre next, event-wise?
Well, this weekend, July 19th, I am going to be in Silsbee, Texas. Me and the family affiliated are facing the Sport family, which is 4-on-4 for all the titles in the company, for the most part, other than the tag team.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes, all titles on the line.
You would think that the tag titles would have been connected to that.
Well, we've had the tag titles before, but there's 3 solo titles that we've taken, or that we've been looking to get from these other fellows, and now we're getting the opportunity to get all 3. Me and my tag partner, Ethan Sorrow, actually have 2 of the 3 already. So with this final match taking place after an 8-month build, we're going to do what we can to make sure all 3 titles come right back home to the family affiliated.
Hell yeah. And we'll put a pin in that for a moment. While you tell us where can we find you on social media and your merchandise?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat. I have onlywrestlers.com. I'm on oklafans.com, which is all of wrestling fan base for wrestlers in Oklahoma and things like that to get booked and stuff. But as far as merchandise goes, I have a pro wrestling tees with over 40 different designs that I have made personally myself to do logos and things and put on shirts so that other people can enjoy them.
Perfect. And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox.
Yes.
Right. I mean, you mentioned that at the top, the Sports family, it does kind of seem like a blood rivalry at this point. You've been going at it for 8 months or so, no?
Yes, it's one of those things, man. When I first showed up to SWF in Texas, Sadistic Wrestling Federation, I was in a battle royal. You know, it was my debut there, and when they win this battle royal they were having, it was the winner got an opportunity at the heavyweight title, you know, in the upcoming months.
Right.
And I ended up winning that match, and had all kinds of other stuff going on. And then fast forward 6 months, came around to December of last year, and I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to show back up to SWF. I'm going to cash in my title opportunity, and I'm going to face Tyson Sport for the heavyweight championship. I'm going to get my due. And I called him out to the ring. I was doing a promo out in the ring, telling Silsbee, Texas, exactly what my intentions were. And I called him out to the ring, trying to do the man-to-man thing, the good, good thing to do. And I called him out to the ring, and I tell him, I'm like, look, I'm just letting you know I'm challenging you for the title tonight. I know we've never had any run-ins together, but it's about time that I cash in for what's rightfully mine, and he told me that's fine. We can do that. It's going to be fair. Everything's going to be fair, this, that, and the other. And before the end of the match happened, he ended up hitting me in the head with the title.
So not fair.
It was not fair. And come to find out, the referee was in his pocket the whole time.
Damn.
So his brother Damien, you got Tyson, Damien, Vivian, which is the referee, and then Ghoul, which is their muscle, their henchman, right? And I ended up getting injured after getting hit in the head with the title. Eighth and Sorrow come back the next show, challenged Tyson to the match. One of our brothers, Gluttony, was out there with Ethan, and Damien was out there with Tyson. And toward the end of the match, Vivian banned Gluttony from ringside. Ethan goes to grab Damien from outside of the ring, gets hit in the face with powder, gets blinded, turns around. Tyson hits him in the head with the belt. So we've been getting screwed over every which way, and I showed up 2 months ago. This was like, I was gone for maybe 6 months or so. I showed up after Tyson thought that he had pretty much ruined and took out the family affiliated. Then he didn't think he had to worry about us anymore, and I showed up when his actual opponent for the night couldn't make it. So they needed somebody to stand in that position. So I showed up. They granted me a title opportunity, and I ended up winning the heavyweight championship off Tyson.
Awesome. I'm sorry he didn't like that, though.
Oh, no. And then last month, Eighth and Sorrow won the Satsuma Valley Championship from Ghoul. So the only one left with a title is Damien out of that family. And if we beat them this Saturday, Gluttony will get Damien's title, and we will have all the championships other than the tag teams in SWF.
Hell yeah.
See, we're not bad guys, even though we look scary, we look odd, we look weird. We're not the bad ones. It's our job to take out the ones who are bad, the ones who cause real wickedness to the world, the ones who have real monsters inside of them, who cheat, who lie, who steal, who wreak havoc, to the ones who are just trying to put on a positive show.
Right. Sometimes the villain doesn't always have a handlebar mustache and most black, so you could distinguish that they're the bad guy.
Right. They try to portray themselves as, genuinely good and all this, but if you're genuinely good and you say fair is fair, then you don't have to pull out those kind of tactics, those kind of cheating antics just to win a match. You'll win with honor, you'll lose with honor. That's what a good person does.
Right. And speaking of, you mentioned it, you won the SWF Heavyweight Championship. What did that kind of mean to you to win that title?
Well, it's my first heavyweight championship. It is actually my 5th championship. I've been UWE light heavyweight champion. I've been CCW tag team champion out of Fort Smith, Arkansas. SWF tag team champions with Eighth and Sorrow and out of Texas, and RWE tag team champions with Eighth and Sorrow out of Oklahoma City. So I've held belts, but having my first heavyweight championship, my first world title for a company, it's meant a lot to me because it really, made it real. I've always wanted to be a champion, growing up, being a wrestling fan and all of that. I've always thought about what I would do if I ever got the opportunity to be a champion and this, that, and the other. But actually winning that title and having the company look at me as the guy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It really, really, really meant a lot to me.
Was that a moment you took in the moment, or is it something that sets in afterwards, like, wow, that happened?
Well, it's one of those things. It was more surreal than anything because me and Nathan right now are double tag team champions. We've got the RWE tag team championships in Oklahoma City and the CCW tag team championships in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And that just stacked more gold onto the plate. As amazing as it is being the heavyweight champion, now you're rocking 3 belts, which means you're obligated to 3 different companies. So it kind of, as much as I want to be over the moon about being heavyweight champion, I just look at it like, okay, now I've just got more added to my plate. So I've really got to learn how to balance this career and this momentum in a positive way.
Oh yeah, and I believe you are over 1 year as CCW tag team champions with Ethan, right?
Yep, we just made 1 year. On July 13th, we made a year of being CCW tag team champions, which has been an amazing run. We've only been together a year. The first night we ever tagged up as a group, as a unit, we ended up winning the tag team championships, and it's been go ever since.
What is that moment like? Because, like, you wasn't a proper tag team, and now your first time tag teaming, you win the tag team titles, and 1 year later you still have those belts.
Well, the thing is in CCW, Ethan and his original tag team partner, Overkill, were the ultimate heels. They were the bad guys. They were the ones the fans did not ever cheer. They wasn't the cheaters. They were just the bad guys. That's all I can say. They didn't really cheat. They just came out there, whipped ass, and left. And his partner ended up hurt, genuinely hurt, like outside of wrestling, genuinely hurt. So they had right at a year build with this other tag team called Holy Hell, Terry Pantera and Father Padge. So they went back and forth against each other for a year, and it come down to them having the title match for the championships, and Ethan's partner ended up getting hurt. So he came to a point to where it was like, I can either face him alone, or I can find me a tag team partner and make this make sense and make this run right. So he came to me, and me and Ethan's been real tight for a long time. And, I kind of give him the rundown, like, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to whip ass all the time. It's okay to be that guy, but you just got to understand everybody doesn't deserve it. There are ones who do deserve it. There are people who cause trouble to the world that are more than welcome to get the crap beat out of them. But you got to pick and choose who that person may be. So me and him tagged up together, fought Father Padge and Terry Pantera, and won the CCW Tag Team Championships that night. And it has been an amazing ride ever since.
What's a pet peeve about Ethan that you just don't understand?
Let's see. A pet peeve about Ethan is knowing that this is about to happen, that this moment is about to take place, and always looking to fill that gap, which is a good thing. I'm not going to say it's a pet peeve, really. It's a good thing. But finding those moments and utilizing those moments in a match.
I gotcha. Now, obviously, family affiliated tag team. But it all kind of starts with Rika Wildlee, the barker of the Bizzare. I don't want to call it a gimmick, but a lot of wrestlers when they come into pro wrestling, they don't know what their gimmick is, or they struggle to find a gimmick. Not only did you find a gimmick, not only do you, do your gimmick well, but you actually made a whole backstory for Rika Wildlee as well. How you met the Wanderer, the tragedy that made Rika a reality. I'm just curious, was that something like you had in your mind prior to pro wrestling? Because it's like incredibly detailed. Or was it something that you just thought about when you started your pro wrestling journey?
I had the care 2 years before actually going to an academy and learning how to wrestle and actually getting trained professionally. I already was doing the Rika character, the gimmick with the mask and the top hat and all that stuff. I was already doing it. I was doing promo battles online. And I wasn't wrestling. I was just basically just talking shit more or less on Facebook. And I was doing this in character. So by the time I started the actual wrestling school at the academy, I showed up in the mask already, like day one. I don't think my coach actually seen my face till we graduated. And he hated it. Oh, he hated it. He's not a big fan. He's old school. He's not a big fan of gimmicks and, masked wrestler and all that kind of stuff. And me, I've always been a fan of characters with depth. You see all these outlandish characters growing up. Like, I'm going to use Undertaker and Kane as an example. It's Undertaker and it's Kane. One's undead and one's was burned up by his brother. And there's depth to that. With Kane came to take out his brother because his he burned up in the house. And, it's the depth of that story that really built the draw to that character.
Right.
And that's what I wanted from people who enjoy what I'm doing. Is I don't want them just going, oh, he's another clown guy, because I'm not. I don't do any kind of clowning anything. The only thing that's even remotely clown about me is the mask. Everything else, I'm a carnival barker.
Right.
I'm a walking, talking history lesson. I am giving back to the world who has forgotten where wrestling started. And I'm giving them a history lesson, whether they realize it or not, every single time I'm out there.
Right.
Wrestling started carnival.
I believe started with Strangler Lewis, if I have my history correct.
Yes, it started at the carnival as a sideshow attraction, and the very first person to ever broadcast it and put it out on the map was the carnival barker. Come on, step right up, see the odd and weird spectacles and blah, 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 so on and so forth. That guy created the magic that turned into pro wrestling, the entertainment values, the characters, the stories, the good guys, the bad guys, faces, heels, that whole nine. The carnival barker marched that path into existence. So with me doing this as a gimmick, in my opinion, is teaching a fan base who only knows what WWE has put out exactly why they love the entertainment that they watch every week and why they love it,
Right. And speaking about your mask, it very much interests me when a wrestler that is not of lucha descent wears a mask. What kind of made you choose to wear a mask?
Well, honestly, I didn't want to be another Joe Blow. I didn't want to be another regular guy, put on some tights, and now I just changed my name and I'm Tom Jones from down the road, and I've seen that done 1,000 different times. And I've had big name people, like I'm going to use referee James Beard. He was just in that new movie, The Iron Claw. He was the referee in that movie. He was running a promotion in Texas for a short time, and they do TV and all that kind of stuff. And he asked me one time what I would think about losing the mask. And I just shut him down. I was like, no. I said, I enjoy what I'm doing. I would rather fail as myself to succeed as somebody else created.
Is it hard to breathe in the mask?
No, not at all.
Oh, really? And you could correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the only mask you have, correct?
Yes, it is. This is actually the second mask that I've actually had. Because the first one, it ran its course and started tearing up, so I ended up getting a duplicate made, and it's from a Hollywood mask maker, and it is molded strictly to my face, so it fits my bone structure and where my cheekbones rest and my nose and all that stuff, so it fits tight. And it nobody else could wear this mask, let's put it that way, because it is molded to my face.
Have you ever thought about changing up the design or do something new with the mask?
I've thought about changing the purple to blue, but the thing about it is I don't get to use it a lot, but the mask is neon. It glows under the black light, right? It glows in the dark. And the purple and the green glows in the dark, but the blue really wouldn't pop that well. And I didn't want to go black and white like most, would expect.
No, I get that. That makes sense. Well, kind of continuing with the family affiliated, can you tell us about your relationship with Gluttony, the Big Top Butcher?
Yes. Okay, so me and Gluttony, and I'm going to use this out of character for a second, but me and Gluttony have been friends since we were 13, 14 years old. In real life, legit. Best friends. We speak every single day. We talk every day. He is one of the only people outside of my wife that I literally speak to every single day. And we work together. We wrestle together. All that kind of stuff. Our families are growing up together, all that kind of stuff. And he was actually my first trainee. I'm one of the main trainers at the UWE Academy in Louisiana. And he was my first trainee bringing into the wrestling world. And being able to, he also done the promo stuff with me that I was talking about earlier on Facebook. He was doing that as Gluttony back then when I was doing Rika for the first time. But he put Gluttony on the back burner for years while I was out getting into the actual wrestling stuff. And it come down to me and Ethan needing a manager because we were going against another tag team and they were bringing out a manager, and I was like, I've got the perfect person. I got the perfect person to be our manager. So I messaged Gluttony and I was like, hey dude, what would you think about bringing Gluttony back and joining the family affiliated? And then that same weekend I messaged Gluttony, got that squared away, went to a wrestling show that night, and then a promoter came up to me and was like, hey, he's a promoter in Texas, and he was like, so I've got this guy that wrestles for my company called Smoke the Reaper, and he's going to be in a casket match in February, and I would love if you would, during his match, pop out of the casket and help him win the match. And at that time, I was like, we were in the process of resurrecting Gluttony, in a way to do that and make it make sense in story. So I was like, well, me and Smoke have never had any run-ins together. It wouldn't make sense for me to help him if we've never had we've never crossed paths,
Right.
So with him being the Grim Reaper, who better to help resurrect somebody than the Grim Reaper?
Right. It's perfect.
So the Grim Reaper showed up, helped us resurrect Gluttony. All four of us became a bonded family, and boom, there you have it, the family affiliated.
It does kind of seem very serendipitous, no? How you and Ethan came together, how Gluttony, obviously organically came in there, and how, Smoke just was the perfect person to tie everything together, no?
Yeah. And what's crazy is another thing is we were looking for a new mask because Gluttony didn't originally wear the mask in the promo stuff, but we were looking for a new mask to help build the Gluttony character. And the one we found that we had turned into, Smoke had one already, the same exact mask that he had used 4 or 5 years ago for a match, for a one-time Halloween match or something like that. And it was the same mask that we were already going to use for Gluttony. So it could not have worked out more perfect.
It was meant to be.
Yes, it was definitely meant to be. And now that we've got Raina Rose, who's just recently joined, now I feel that our group is 100% complete.
So you're not looking for new members of the family. This is the whole package.
Well, not right now. Not right now. Only because we've only been doing the family affiliated in the pro wrestling world 1 year.
Right.
Barely for a year. And so much has happened already with the way everything is played out with our characters and championships we won and companies we've been to and states we've been to and all that kind of stuff. And it's got great momentum going behind it right now. But if you do too much, you leave no room to grow. You know what I mean?
No, I completely understand.
So we're just gonna ride this out for a while and let it, like you said, organically build into whatever comes next. We're not gonna force anything, or I can't say there won't be more members of the family. All I can say is right now, I feel that we're good where we're at for the moment.
Okay. Well, keeping on, Gluttony, even you said, family friend, no pun intended, known him for years.
Yes.
So just not too long ago, you actually had a one-on-one match against him. So what was that experience like, going one-on-one with Gluttony?
I'll be honest. The match that me and Gluttony had, we actually had 2 matches back to back. The first one was I was trying to get him some in-ring experience, to show promoters that he actually could work. So who better to go against than somebody that I know he trusts.
Right.
Me and him have been wrestling and talking wrestling even before the in-ring stuff for years. Dude, backyard bull crap and all that kind of stuff. But I know he would feel comfortable and not get lost and overzealous and end up getting hurt or anything like that because we grew up together. So, having a match against Gluttony was actually a dream because we've dreamed about performing against each other and, having a match in front of an actual crowd at an actual promotion that's not in the yard and stuff like that. That was a childhood dream of ours, and we actually got to do that. And recently...
And I'm assuming you were paid as well.
Yeah, yes. It was an amazing experience, and recently, for the first time, we got to tag team. Because the way the family affiliated works is we're kind of like the Freebirds used to be. Anybody can tag with anybody. There's really no one set tag team. Me and Ethan started it, and we're tag team champions. But if there's an event Ethan can't make it to, me and Gluttony will tag up. Me and Smoke will tag up. Smoke and Ethan will tag up. It's whatever.
Right. That's why it's a family.
Right. We're always complete. We always pick up each other's slack. There's no telling who, when, where, and how, but it all works out for the best.
Now, obviously you said you had you knew Ethan before tagging with him, and obviously Gluttony, a childhood friend. Um, what would,
Yes.
what's your relationship with Smoke the Reaper?
Well, that's the thing, man. Is Raina, Gluttony, me, and Ethan all graduated from the UWE Academy.
Okay.
So we all graduated from the same spot, different times, different classes. But I was in the very first class. I think Ethan was in like the third class, and Gluttony and Raina were in like the seventh or eighth class. But Smoke, I had met him one time wrestling at another company, but we had never, had any kind of real run-in together. So I mean, we were cool, I guess, but we had never really talked like friendship-wise. You know what I mean?
Right.
So everything that we've built throughout the family affiliated has been very organic and blossomed beautifully, just on the fact that he wasn't looking for anything when I showed up, and I wasn't looking for anything when he showed up. We just kind of let it blossom into what it is.
I gotcha. And I mean, finishing up with the family affiliated, Reina is the last member, the most recent member.
Yes.
How did she kind of come in? Everything seems so, organic and serendipitous with the rest of the members.
Well, see, the thing about it is they've said it 1,000 times since the beginning of time. You can always have a house, you can always have a family, but it takes a woman to make a house a home,
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to family, bringing in a outsider like that, everybody in the family has their own reasoning for being there. None of us are the same. Every single one of us have something different to bring to the table, the family table per se, no pun intended. But you've got Gluttony, he's the one who's going to make sure you eat. You got Ethan, he's the one that's going to make sure that no harm comes to the ones he loves. You got Smoke, who is going to make sure that everybody at the end of the day is put exactly where they're supposed to be, and is tended to exactly how they should be. You've got Raina, who is basically an abused housewife. She was mistreated, she was done wrong, she was misguided, she was forgotten. And that's how we showed up and gave her the love and the family that she desperately needed in the time of being so lost. And now she looks at us like she never got taken care of like that. So now she looks at us like the love that she never got.
I gotcha. All right. Now, you mentioned your coach. I believe that's Dapper Dan, correct?
Yes. Dapper Danny Davis, Dapper Dan for the folks in Texas and stuff like that know some of the old global wrestlers, global and Mid-South and things like that. He was trained by the Russian Ivan Putsky. Some very old school style of training, and being his first class to come through his school, he gave us that real understanding that it doesn't take a lot of flippy tricks and all that kind of stuff to get over in a match. You can do just as much by doing a lot of old school basic stuff, a lot of locks, a lot of holds, arm drags, hip tosses, the basics that people have forgotten about over time.
You actually got to have a proper one-on-one match with Dan. What did that kind of mean to you, to be in the ring with your coach?
It meant everything. It capped off, years of the Am I making him proud? Am I doing what he expects me to do, as his student? I've never been one to look for an attaboy, but having a one-on-one match with that is one of the highlights of my career, strictly because it's like, look, let me show you the worker I became. Let me show you the wrestler that you created. I can handle my own, and I want to give you the respect of giving you the match that you deserve. So I enjoyed every second of it, and then one of the funnest matches I've had. And he loved it, and that meant a lot to me.
I mean, that's a big compliment that he loved it as well.
Oh, he gave me major kudos when we got to the back. He's like, man, I'm proud of you, and he just, you done really good. You're that's why he ended up, making me help train his new students. I never asked to be a trainer or anything like that, but I love pro wrestling. In the ring, out of the ring, behind the scenes, anything that has to do with it, I'm a fan of it. I love it. I'm very in-depth with everything I do, down to making my own gear, down to everything. And being able to push that knowledge onto other people and open a door like Dap opened a door for me is an amazing feeling. And it's all due to him.
And what does that kind of mean to you, considering, like, Ollie, like you mentioned earlier in the interview, he may have not taken to you, things that may be started out rocky between the two of you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say he hated me or anything like that, because he didn't really know us. We're all new guys. He didn't really know any of us. He looked at us like a bunch of kids coming in, and I was 30, but he looked at us like a bunch of overzealous kids trying to become wrestlers, and I understand him looking at it like that, but it was one of those things. My job isn't, I'm going to make sure that by the end of the day, you understand my vision. I can't live for you. You can't live for me. What makes me happy, what I enjoy, you may not. And what makes you happy and what you enjoy, I may not like it. But the fact is, it doesn't make either of us wrong. Right. That's what makes the world amazing, is the fact that we're all into something different. So you can't tell me that it's not going to work. The only reason it won't work is if I don't allow it to work.
Right. I get that. Speaking of making things work, can you tell us about the Taipei Lego match?
Oh, man. I'll let my mouth overload my ass on that one. So, WWA, the company that I was champion for at the time, I became their innovative champion, which the stipulation for the innovative championship is every match has to have a stipulation, some kind of stipulation. And I kind of pitched an idea. I was like, what a Taipei death match is? And they were like, well, I've heard of it, but explain. So I explained to them about the way it used to work, where they would take glue and put it on their hands and then roll their hands in broken glass, and that's how they would fight. And I was like, well, instead of broken glass, we could do the same thing with like double-sided tape, not glue, obviously, because you don't want glue all over your canvas, but with double-sided tape and Legos, we could just roll our hands in Legos. And that was the last time it was spoke of. Completely forgot about it. This was like 4 or 5 months later. Completely forgot about ever even mentioning it. And then all of a sudden I see the card come out. I see the match card come out, and I'm going against Jack Lovecraft in a cage in a Taipei Lego death match. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I called the promoter. I was like, are you for real? And he's like, you brought it up. Oh, you know what? I did. That was on me. And that's actually how I ended up losing that championship. It was one of the weirdest and oddest matches I've had so far in my career, but it was fun nonetheless.
I mean, getting punched with Legos. I imagine that hurts, no?
It wasn't so much about being punched with Legos. It was about being like suplexed on Legos.
Yeah, I get that.
Being body slammed on Legos. I would much rather punched or chopped with Legos than I would get backdropped on Legos.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was that the same cage match that you did a swanton off of the top of the cage?
Oh, no. The Swanton was in Mendenhall, Mississippi. The Lego match was in Lufkin, Texas.
Okay. But it seems like whenever you're in the ring with Jake Lovecraft, it seems like there is always a stipulation attached to it, no?
Yeah. I mean, it seems we've had that kind of rivalry. The only time we've ever had just a solo one-on, and I can't even say one-on-one, it was a triple threat match with me, him, and Devontae Adams. But there was no weapons or anything involved in that match. But every other one that we've had, every other run-in we've had, it's been all kinds of craziness. But that's Jack for you. That's Jack Lovecraft in a nutshell. The dude's crazy. Dude's bonkers. So you gotta kind of do what you gotta do to get over.
I gotcha. Would you like to maybe pitch your next idea for a stipulation match against Jack?
Nope. Lesson learned. No, sir.
Well, whether it's, Taipei Lego debt matches, family affiliated, all of the incredible things you've done this year. You were on the top 100 independent wrestlers to watch. What does that kind of mean to you, to, be on the list?
Well, that was the top 100. That was the 2024 list. But either way, just to be on that list, out of all the thousands and all the amounts of wrestlers that is out there, and they're all putting in the work. They're all getting beat up every weekend or every couple times a week or whatever the case may be. And, even to be thought about to be put on that kind of list, it not only makes me humble, but it also makes me realize what I'm doing is working. Don't change a thing. Let it go.
We're in July, currently. PWI comes out in maybe like another month or so. And you did have, one would say a breakout year. Could you see yourself on the PW 500 list this year? You think that's a possibility?
If that was ever a thing, I would. I don't know, man. Like I looked at that PWI for years growing up. Every year, I used to get the WWE magazines and the PWI and the Wrestling Superstore magazine and all that stuff sent to the house. And to now potentially be put in that magazine, if that ever became a thing, I would lose it.
Well, hey, like I said, it comes out in maybe another month or so. So I might be looking for Rika Wildlee on that list.
I mean, I've been in a couple of different magazines so far. I've been in 2 magazines in Memphis. I've been in, I had a full 52-page magazine done on just Rika in Alexandria, Louisiana. And then I've been in another magazine, 2 magazines in Alexandria. But just to think that there are people out there enjoying the stuff that I'm putting together, that I've been doing and thinking about and dreaming about since I was a kid. I fell in love with wrestling at 8 years old. My last writing assignment when I was in high school, before I dropped out and had a kid and all this kind of stuff, a bunch of life stuff, I went back and got my GED, but the last writing assignment that I did on was the dream of becoming a pro wrestler. And I've still got that rough draft of that assignment put up in a frame.
That's awesome. I think it is time for that segment once again. Rika's Bizzare Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Oh, yes, I can. Okay, so here's the deal. And most of these have happened with the one, the only, Ethan Sorrow. So there's multiple stories, and I could probably go on for a while, but on one time we were on our way to Battle Zone Championship Wrestling in Mendenhall, Mississippi. One of the first time, as a matter of fact, it was the first time that we were going there as a group, as talent, I'm gonna say. And we're riding in his car. We're on our way there, and it's me, him, his wife, and his daughter in the back seat. And his daughter's in the back seat, and his son, and his wife and him's in the front seat. And all of a sudden, he goes, "Hey, we're losing tire pressure on the back driver's side tire." And I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, "Yeah, we're at 32 pounds of pressure." I'm like, "All right, maybe it'll hold out." And then about 5 miles down the road, he's like, "We're at 28 pounds of pressure." I'm like, "What?" And then he goes, "We're at 25 pounds of pressure." All the way down to like 8 pounds of pressure in that back tire. It was a Saturday in bullcrap, Mississippi, in the middle of the woods somewhere. And luckily, we found a little local tire shop that the people that own it were there working on their personal vehicles. The shop wasn't even opened. But they let us buy from them so we could make it to the show. But we were riding the rim of that car. How we made it without the tire blowing out, I'll never know.
That is definitely a crazy story.
Oh, and look, it gets crazy with Ethan. Every adventure with Ethan is very bizarre, weird, odd. You got to be kind of prepared for everything at that point.
If I ever have Ethan on the show, he'll probably blame you for it being the buckle of the Bizzare.
Look, I'll take credit where credit's due, but most of the time he's driving because he has the better vehicle of the bunch. So when it comes down to what's going on with that car, whether it's running out of gas, whether it's a tire blowing out, whether it's laughing so hard that it blacks out and ends up in a ditch.
What?
Yeah. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, there are a lot of crazy stories with Ethan Sorrow.
Okay then.
I'll take my credit, where it's due. I made him laugh so hard that he was hitting his vape, and he was laughing so hard that his vision went blurred, and he tried pulling off to the side of the road. And we're in North Arkansas, and there was no side of the road. It was just a big water ditch. So he ends up basically sticking the nose of his van into the ditch.
Well,
that's a whole different episode for this Ethan stories.
But at least it's safe. I'm assuming.
Oh. It's never dull. I give you that. It's never, ever, ever dull.
Well, speaking on Bizzare adventures, can you tell us about that time you did a car dealership commercial?
Yeah. So I just recently became the UWE light heavyweight champion, and that didn't last but a couple weeks. But I got my truck. I just bought it from that car dealership, that same one. And I was talking to about being a wrestler and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, hey man, what would you think about coming here and doing some recording for us and making us a little commercial, you know? And which that was the first one I'd ever done. I was like, man, I would love to. I think that would be amazing. And well, no, I take that back. The Champlin ones, the furniture one was the first one I ever done. But anyway, I was like, I walked around, I did the cars, I read off this little script of, you know, what each car had going for it and all that. And it was super fun to be able to do something with the wrestling that wasn't wrestling. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it, how was the experience like shooting something, you know, because obviously in wrestling it's one take and you're done. So how was it like doing, you know, being a part of a production?
Well, that's what I was saying before when I was doing the promo stuff on Facebook. I am so blessed to be able to have done that first, done the promo stuff, because I learned how to talk. I learned how to not have to ramble and you know, do 100 different takes and all that kind of stuff. Now, every now and again it does happen, but I learned how to promo before I learned how to wrestle. And for most people coming up in the wrestling world, promoing is like one of the hardest things for them to learn, because you can find things to fill a gap in a match, you know, to where there's no dead time. You forget something, go fill it with something else. But having to think of things on the fly and fill those gaps without seeming like you've completely gotten lost in what you're talking about is a whole different ballgame. So I really enjoy promoing and talking and learning ways to dance around getting lost. You know?
I gotcha. Well, I mean, a good way to get lost and be in an immersive experience is Dungeons and Dragons. Something you're a big fan of.
Love Dungeons and Dragons, man.
Tell us about your love of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, dude, that's where Rika come from. That's how Rika come to be. I mean, my D&D character was Ricochet. That was my, and been that since I was probably 13, 14 years old, was Ricochet. And all my D&D buddies, they all called me Ricochet. And throughout high school, they called me Ricochet and all that kind of stuff. Just, you know, our own personal nicknames for each other that anybody outside of us didn't even know what we were talking about.
Right.
But as we grew up, and then I ended up getting into the wrestling stuff, and I was thinking of gimmick names and promo stuff, and I was thinking of gimmick names and all that. I was like, I want to use Ricochet, but there was already Ricochet coming up, you know. And I was like, well, I'm just going to do Rika, the wild card, Lee. My middle name is Lee. So my real middle name is Lee. So I was like, I'll do the wild card. Then I got to searching on Facebook and Instagram and things, and there's a million different wild card gimmicks out there. Every other person is a wild card something, you know. So I was like, I'll just be Rika Wildlee, the barker of the Bizzare, and I'll be a carnival barker. I'll be the guy that draws you into every single event.
What class are you in D&D?
I was a rogue shadow dancer.
I'm assuming you were at a high level, no?
Depending on what campaign, yes.
What was your longest campaign?
We've still got one going called the Epic Map Campaign, and it was something we started in probably 9th grade. We took the back of a you know, the targets that you shoot like at a shooting range, like it's got that silhouette outline.
Yeah.
We took the back of one of those from one of my friend's dads, and we started drawing a map on it. Like we'd play a session, and we would draw what we done, where we went, and all of that. And as we progressed, we just added to it and added to it. And now we're like 2 or 3 papers long with this map of all the stuff that we've done over the past 15, 20 years. You know, it's just really sick to look at. And now we get to tell our kids we got our kids playing.
Oh,
And we're telling them about campaigns and places things we done and all that kind of stuff, and it's just really cool way to keep up with the nostalgia of growing up loving something like that.
And that's awesome that you got your kids into it as well. That's a life victory if I ever say so.
Well, I mean, like I said, I had my son at 17 years old. So we grew up together. I'm going to say that. Me and my son grew up together. Yeah, I'm his dad and all that, but he's 17 now. And I didn't know nothing about nothing back then. So me raising him, I grew up alongside him. While I was learning about life, he was learning about life,
And I mean, he's 17 right now. That's 1 year away from, proper wrestling training. Is that a possibility?
I'm the trainer. He's already been in the ring.
Okay.
Now he's not interested right now because it's all about skateboarding and girls. But the way I feel about it is this: if he wants to be a wrestler, I would be over the moon about that. But I don't want him to do it if he thinks he's doing it because I want him to. I want him to chase his own dream. Wrestling was my dream. I would rather him chase his own dream, whatever that may be. If it's wrestling, great. If it's not, okay, cool. I want him happy. Whatever that.
I gotcha. And absolutely. You also partake in Magic the Gathering, correct?
Actually, a bunch of my friends do, but I've never actually played. The cards and stuff that you've probably seen on Facebook, the local game shop here, that some of my D&D buddies and other gamers from back in the day made a game shop here in my town called Gamers Paradise. And they made those cards for the family affiliated so that they could put them up on display at the game shop.
That's really cool.
They bought one of my top hats as well. Had me sign it, and now they use it every year as a Christmas tree topper.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they're all very supportive of my wrestling stuff, I gotta say.
Okay. From what I hear about Magic the Gathering, stay away from people that uses the blue deck.
Yes, man. I've got ADHD really bad. It's hard for me to sit in one spot and try to strategize. Like, if it wasn't so random on campaigns of D&D and so much just bullshitting and having a good time, whatever, I would probably get bored and be like, yeah, I'm good, and then walk off. But because it's so dang random and literally anything could happen, it keeps my attention.
I gotcha. Speaking of, can you tell us about your tattoos and if there's any significant meaning to them?
Well, I've got a couple. I've got on my wrist, I've got one that's suicide awareness. It's the semicolon, and anybody that knows about the semicolon knows the meaning behind that. I've had a couple different friends who have taken their own lives, and family for that matter.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah. I appreciate that. But the galaxy, with the hand pointing toward the galaxy, I've always been one with kind of the laws of the universe, and every action has an equal opposite reaction type vibe, like if you're going to treat people one way, you got to understand if you're going to treat them bad, just know that bad's going to come back to you, and vice versa for that matter.
Right.
But the hand that is pointing toward the galaxy is, I made a thing in high school called psychedelic touch. And it's basically every move, every action that when you enter somebody's life, even if it's shaking their hand or bumping into them in the street, just like shoulder checking them in the street by accident, you have, even on the smallest scale, changed their life a little bit. So you have touched someone and changed their life a little bit. They may not even realize it. You may not even realize it, but you have now entered into their psyche a little bit. You have touched their life.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And then there's one other tattoo that I've got on the back of my calf, and it's the quote from Captain Spaulding from Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses, and it says, "Don't you like clowns?" And that's because when me and Dap was having our issues, and he kicked me out of the school for a little while, that was kind of the way I felt about it. What's the matter? Don't you like clowns?
Hold up, he actually kicked you out of the school?
Yeah, for a short time we had a spat. We had an issue. There was a big miscommunication, is what it was. So I had won the light heavyweight title, as I mentioned earlier, the UWE, United Wrestling Entertainment light heavyweight title, and my first outside booking outside of UWE was in Texas, and the promoter, who knew I was their light heavyweight champion, had a clown guy over there at his company that was one of their champions, and he pitched to me the idea of me going over there, dropping the belt to his clown guy, and then next month his clown guy coming to UWE and dropping both belts to me. My only comment to that was, not my belt, not my choice. I don't own this title. I'm just representing this title. It's not mine to say, y'all can have it. So Dap, all he heard through the grapevine and through this promoter was, I decided I was going over there and dropping his belt, giving his belt away, basically, to some random guy. And he ended up stripping me of the light heavyweight title.
Damn. That's a big miscommunication.
It was. And I had the text messages to prove exactly what I said, exactly how it went down. But for like 3 or 4 months, I wasn't part of the UWE. I wasn't part of the locker room. I wasn't part of the training. I wasn't anything. I was just, at that point, for the first time, full on independent. So it sucked, but it was a blessing, because it kind of forced me out of that nest, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It was sink or swim type situation, because UWE, they book all the guys they train to work in their shows and stuff like that, to get them comfortable before they start branching out to get bookings elsewhere. And when I left UWE for that short time and started having to get my own bookings and travel myself and get myself back and forth to shows and all of that all on my own, and to be honest, if it wasn't for Gluttony, which, like I said, me and him are best friends, if it wasn't for him before he was Gluttony, he's the one, he made a page on Facebook called Booking the Big Top, and he became my booking manager. And he reached out, took my resume and reached out to all these different promotions and all this stuff. So if it wasn't for him, Rika may not even be talking to you right now, because I tell you, I was gut wrenched. I was like, wasn't eating. I was so upset that I thought my wrestling career was over, because UWE was all I knew. But once I started going out and getting other bookings and other promoters started seeing it, and I kind of started carrying my own weight and focusing on myself and not so much what everybody else was doing, just pushing Rika, it worked out to a point to where, like me, don't like me, whatever the case may be. I'm not looking for a pat on the back. I'm here to do one thing, and that's make little 8-year-old Rika happy. The one who started this dream. Make him happy.
Well, it's great that something positive came out of a bad experience.
Oh, I didn't see it at the time, but it definitely did. And now me and Dad, we talk all the time. We're super tight. You know, I don't think he looks at me as a student. I mean, yes, I'm his student, but he looks at me. It's more of a man-to-man thing now.
Right.
No,
I completely understand that. Just kind of going back to tattoos. Do you have any plans to get new ones?
I do. I really have planned to get money, so I can get some new ones. But yes, I definitely do want to get. It's been a couple of years since I've got any new ones, and I recently lost one of my wrestling brothers, and I want to get a tattoo to memorialize him, Logan Wade. He passed away a couple months back of cancer.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah, man, and he was in the first class as well. Me and him, I've known him since I was about 14 years old in high school. We went to the same high school.
Okay.
Me, him, and Glad 3 did. And growing up, me and him were in the first class along with 3 other guys. And now I'm wrestling not only for myself, but I'm wrestling for him too.
Oh, yeah.
This dream wasn't just mine.
And I think that's a great segue into the colossal question. Let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Let's see. First 3 songs on my movie soundtrack is going to be I Want My MTV by Dire Straits.
Okay.
Let's see. Hey You by Pink Floyd. And Inagata da Vida. Yeah, that's 3.
Okay. And a solid 3 picks to say the least. Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go to casting. Who plays you, and you can't say yourself because you are obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Okay. Who plays me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say just because I've always been a fan, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay. Definitely. Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
Well, for the Rika story, it would have to be Ethan, Stroke, and Gluttony. And who would play them?
Yes.
Well, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. I would like to say somebody like, I don't know too many actors by name. That's the problem.
If you told me who you're thinking, I could maybe guess. I could get their name.
Well, I would like to say a younger Big Show for Ethan.
Okay.
We'll do, just because I think it would work out well, as long as he wasn't as amped. If Braun Breaker was a little bit smaller,
Okay.
he could play Gluttony.
I mean, it's cinema. We could make him look smaller. If they could make Morgan Freeman a hobbit, we could make Braun Strowman a couple of inches shorter.
Oh, man, we can do anything. Okay, and as far as Smoke goes, he's a skeleton. Anybody could play him.
Gotcha. CGI skeleton.
There you go. There you go.
Alright, well, this is sounding like a great movie. A blockbuster, to say the least. And you could pre-order the tickets now.
Right. I eventually want to get the Rika story, like, full-on legit turned into a movie script. Because, like I was saying earlier with the family affiliated, each one of them has a backstory. Each one of them has a character depths and all that kind of stuff and a reasoning for the way they are. But I was thinking about it a while back. I want to start the movie as Rika, or Richard Wildlee, him at 17 years old, and his son's mother at the time. The movie starts and they're on their way to the emergency room because she's having complications with the baby. Okay. Movie starts, they're going, she gets rushed in the emergency room, Rika goes sit in the lobby, hours pass, he ends up dozing off. When he dozes off, all this crazy stuff happens with the wonder and all of this kind of stuff. And it fast forwards like 4 or 5 months. Wife's happy, baby's happy, everything's good, they made it clean, whatever. And at the very end of the movie, as all this stuff has happened, Rika wakes up still in the lobby, and behind him sits against the wall sits Smoke, Raina, Gluttony, Nathan. But they're all basically Rika's insecurities at 17 years old. You've got Ethan, who was abused as a kid. That's why he is the way he is. That's his backstory. And Rika don't want to have his kid abused, so he made up the character Ethan in his head. Gluttony is all about food, and not letting anybody starve, and that's one of Rika's insecurities, is not wanting his son to starve. How are you going to feed this kid at 17? You can barely feed yourself. And then you got Smoke, who's obviously the Grim Reaper. You don't want your son to die.
Right.
So you're scared about keeping your kid alive, doing what you got to do to keep your kid alive. Then you got Raina, who was an abused housewife, and you don't want her to think you're less of a man because you can't support or emotionally support your family. So Rika, in his mind, during his slumber, made all these people up in his head, and when he wakes up, the doctor's walking out of the emergency room doors, and he wakes him up and he looks up at him and he goes, "Just want you to know, 7 pounds 6 ounces, you're a healthy baby boy, congratulations, welcome to fatherhood, blah blah blah." And Rika just looks up, and then you see 4 hands touch his shoulders, and it pans up, and they're all 4 standing behind him. And Rika looks up and he's got the mask on. And that's the end of the movie.
Well, I mean, reading that story, it's definitely very cinematic, to say the least.
I'm all about that, man. I'm all about the more in depth I can drag you into my world, the better I think it is. The more involved you'll be.
Oh, hell yeah. It's definitely going to be selling some tickets, for sure. Alright, on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
I love it. 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 Not many people do. Not many people do, but I'm a weird duck. Pineapple on pizza, which I mean, there's not much pizza that I don't like. I grew up poor, so when it comes down to it, I'm not picky. Food is food.
All right. So, we are pro pineapple on pizza. What's your spirit Pokemon?
Let's see. I'm gonna say Kadabra.
Oh yeah. Now we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
No.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail. 'Cause a Doug can't spell. Yes. We love the late great Tracy Smothers trying to keep the memory alive on the show.
Hey, I dig it. I dig it.
Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider wrestling a rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical rock.
I'm an entertainer, man. I'm an entertainer, regardless of the fact. I've seen people wrestle a tent. I've seen people wrestle blow-up dolls. I've seen people wrestle ghosts. Nothing. Get body slammed by no one. So if there was ever a chance and it was the right amount of money involved and the right crowd, I'll get out there and attempt to elbow drop a rock, I guess. Probably won't work out too well for me, but...
But just for context, there is a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
Jesus. Oh, wow.
Yes. Alright, on a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Happy.
Hell yeah. And
That's it.
What is a match people should go out of their way to see that you've been in, that best shows off what you are all about as a pro wrestler?
I really enjoy cage matches.
So one of your matches with Jake?
Yeah, well, I tried. That's a whole different ball game. I try to stay away from the super duper hardcore stuff because that stuff takes time off your career, match by match, and I'm all for a table or a chair every now and again, but the light tubes and then the barbed wire and all that craziness, that's not my style.
Okay, so what match would you want people to see of yours that best shows off you as a pro wrestler?
The match that I had against Micheal Parish at Battle Zone, where I done the swanton off the cage.
Perfect. And I believe that's on your YouTube, correct?
Yes, it is.
Right.
Rika Wildlee versus Micheal Parish.
And you don't have to go looking for it. I will grab the link to the match and put it in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox for anybody that hasn't seen it, wants to see it, wants to re-see it after this interview.
There you go. For a fun fact, I'm the only Rika Wildlee in existence. If you Google the name, you can literally find me everywhere. All my stuff pops up first.
Hell yeah.
On Google.
And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom. This is our
Love it.
speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Eddie Guerrero.
Worst wrestler.
Rico.
Could you repeat that?
Rico.
Rico. Gotcha. Your main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
1998 Shawn Michaels.
That's very specific. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
It would be Modern Alien Waltz, the TNA Jeff Hardy theme.
Gotcha. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Dead.
We would have also accepted tastes great on toast.
Okay.
Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
Good. Either way.
Well, we know it's good, but is it a fruit or is it a vegetable?
I would assume a vegetable, but I could be wrong.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
It is indeed a fruit. It has seeds. Tomato logic.
Ah, touche.
New Japan wrestler Taichi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
We're talking for a dude?
Generally speaking.
I'm just gonna say if more of half your ass cheek is hanging out, then they're no longer shorts. They're underwear.
Gotcha. So less than 50%.
Yes. Yeah.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
Let me think. Actually, yes. That's a weird. That is a weirdly odd question, but yes, I actually have. When he and Jeff Hardy had a match where he dove off the ladder to the outside of the ring and landed on all them chairs.
Yes.
Yeah. Me and one of my buddies were in there talking, and one of his friends walked up and joined the conversation, which I didn't know him. So technically, he is a stranger to me, and we were all talking about that match. And yeah, so technically, yes, that has happened.
All right. And that is the correct answer. And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a blast.
And once again, where can we find all things Rika Wildlee on social media?
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, and RIKA WILDLEE official on most things. But I'm gonna give you the full-on link that I've got all of my stuff tagged on. It's like Linktree kind of, but it's got all of the family affiliated on there. So it's got me and all of my socials and merch and all that. Ethan, Smoke, Raina, and Gluttony is all on there as well. And you can just tag that one link and they can literally get everything Rika, everything family affiliated.
Absolutely. And you don't have to type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and CastBox. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Buy a damn shirt.
Right. Make it. And I've just put out 2 or 3 new ones recently, so yeah.
Perfect. He even has new designs. Get all 3. Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment. But on YouTube and Castbox, this was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Play More Coffee. Join us next Wednesday as we for a new incredible interview, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, but on X, Twitter, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
Alright.
For our special guest, Rika Wildlee, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.